Hey guys, Neomis here. Now let's talk about the preseason game. Arsenal versus Hibernian, and I'm sure you've all heard the news that Arsenal lost 2-1 to Hibernian. It is the first preseason game, so I know lots of people are saying, oh, you can't think too much about it, but I think that for me, preseason starts to show where teams are in terms of their preparation towards when the season starts. And we have to remember that with the Euros, that the season's really going to start in what I think it's a month from tomorrow, and we want to see what you know if there's going to be any players that are going to surprise us, how potential teams might be set up, and with how things are right now, I do have to say, just looking at the game overall, before I give any details, I want to say this that I don't think that there'll be much changes in regards to Arsenal starting 11 next season. In this game, you still had players like Lacazette playing really well. Pepe played well. Same thing with Emil Smith Rowe, who scored the goal for Arsenal, trying to get us back into the game. Thomas Partey had attempted a free kick, hit the crossbar, which even then, still, I thought had a good attempt. He's going to start for Arsenal. El Nene, I thought, had a good, solid game as well. And then I would say that's about it. Oh, one person that I thought also played well in the first half, Reiss Nelson. I gotta give a big shout out to Reiss Nelson. That in the first half, I thought he played really well. Was definitely a bright spark in the game. You really want him to kind of impose himself onto the game a lot more, which would have potentially given him a lot more goal scoring opportunities. And I think that's probably the one thing about his game that he could improve on. I know parts of that are probably derived from confidence, because I think if you're confident, then you just naturally go to try to score goals. And I think that's something that you need to kind of get Reiss Nelson um, up to standard to go about doing. So for me, Reiss Nelson is someone that's on the cusp of at least providing value to the first team. Kind of honourable mentions, I gotta say, Eddie Nketiah, playing pretty well, to be really honest. Overall, his tracking back and working hard for the team, winning the ball. Did have an opportunity to go up and score the goal, but put it just wide. Then you had the likes of Fowler and Balogun having an opportunity as well, putting that just wide later on in the game after he came on at half time for Eddie Nketiah. But in the first half, seeing the likes of Nketiah perform, I do think he'll get some opportunity. But the one thing that I will say about Eddie Nketiah, and I'm a fan of Eddie Nketiah, is that he needs to be playing games regularly this season, whether it's with Arsenal or on loan to another club. For his development, he has to be playing regularly. No way can he be a bit part player. And if he has any brains on him, whatever the case is, you have to go out on loan. You just have to either that or you leave Arsenal, which I don't want to see the latter, but I'd rather him go out on loan and get development. And the same thing that goes for Reiss Nelson. They're now at what 21 and 22 respectively, 22 for Eddie and Nketiah, and it's time to go out on loan and show people what you could do, and try just to become better football players. This has now become where it's bigger than Arsenal overall, and you just want to be able to see more. Now, in this game, there was the likes of Arthur Okonkwo, who started the game, got his kind of preseason debut. Now, I have to say that I saw him, and first chance that he got to kind of control the ball was fine. Second chance, a pass came in whereby it was a simple catch, and he completely fluffed it and didn't quite catch it properly. And I said, "Oh, that's a bad sign." But as long as nothing else happens, like he'll be fine. And then later on in the game, in the first half, back pass comes in from Cedric, who, yeah, it was kind of an awkward pass from Cedric, but it was still enough to whereby Okonkwo should have just been able to kind of simply control it or just hoof it somewhere, and he tried to hoof it completely, doesn't get the angles right, and it just sets it up for a tap in for the Hibernian player, which was quite disappointing to be really honest. It was such an easy goal for us to kind of give away, to be really honest. And I know it's preseason, but for me, I look at that as like, no, 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 absolutely not. I I potentially was looking at Arthur and Nkwonkwo as someone who could have been a backup goalkeeper, a second choice or third choice. But for me, I would probably have to say he might be closer to the third choice, or maybe just not ready yet. You know, he's 19, almost 20 years old now, so he still has a lot of development to do. To be really honest, overall. But for me, I wouldn't be comfortable with him playing in a cup game from what I really saw today. But at half time, what ended up happening is that they changed goalkeepers. And when they changed goalkeepers to the other goalkeeper, let me just pull pull his name just so I could get it right. Is Carl Hein came on in the 45th minute on, and he looked a lot better. Now I know he conceded a goal in that game, but to be really honest, I don't think that was his fault. When I was kind of looking at the highlights of the game, I have to say that that really stems from the two centre backs, which was Mari and Omar Rekik, who obviously some of you might know from what, a season ago, who we purchased. He got his opportunity in the game, and I have to say that them two just positionally weren't in the right positions. I know Bellerin was going up for the header, but you know you expect Bellerin to lose that battle just because of a natural height. But if the central defenders were in the right place, then they could have been able to kind of clear that off the lines. But for me, just bad positioning from the defenders on that one. But besides that, I thought Carheim was pretty solid. Haven't seen too much of him, to be really honest, to really make a fair judgment. And to even with Arthur Nkwonkwo, I haven't seen him much as well. But if I had to say a first analysis, I'm liking Carl Hein. I want to see what he could do, but I'm not ready yet to again kind of throw Arthur Nkwonkwo under the bus. We've still got a couple more preseason games to look at, and I'm sure Arthur Nkwonkwo is going to get a lot more kind of games to really to be able to prove himself, not just to the Arsenal fans, but probably more importantly to Mikel Arteta. So let's see how that goes with the likes of Bernd Leno. I believe Bernd Leno went to the Germany squad with the Euros. It's going to be a while before we see Bernd Leno, even though he never played. Um, we're not going to probably get to see Bernd Leno probably until the Chelsea preseason game, which should be, I think in about a week or 10 days or so. Is my opinion, to be really honest. Um, Other players to kind of really talk about, Harry Clark. He got his start in this game, which I was surprised to see him get a start. But I guess just it might be a good opportunity for Mikel Arteta to look at several players. Also, the likes of Omari Hutchinson got some games as well. And then there was Jack Francis, 17-year-old Jack Francis from the Arsenal Academy, getting his chance in this preseason game as well. Uh, they didn't have much time to play. Jack Francis came first. I think he only got about 15 minutes to play, and then Omari Hutchinson got about 10. But my guess is that I would expect him to probably start Arsenal's next preseason game, just so for probably Mikel Arteta to see what else that they can do. Because as I've been banging on about for the last several months, is that Arsenal can't buy their way out of this troubled situation that they have right now. They have to be able to develop talent and have good coaching, have good coaching, and I'll stress that more. So Mikel Arteta could, you know, get his finger from wherever it is and start trying to develop these players, including the ones coming from up to the academy, to make them better. Because we're not going to be able to buy our way out of every situation. If we're going to buy a player, this has to be someone that's key and crucial towards the way in which we want to play right now, or to provide um, backup for positions that we just don't have coming from the academy. So that's personally what I want to see, how the kind of direction going forward there. But I thought overall, when looking at some of the other players, Cedric Soares was okay, Maitland-Niles was okay, Aubameyang was okay, Willian, I don't know why he's still there, but he, to be honest, he was fine as well. Uh, and that was about it. That was about it. I think it was a good effort. Lots of bright sparks from last season's regulars. So for me, that's why, even though it's a first preseason game, you could quite clearly see who Arsenal's better players were, and they were more so the players that were in the kind of starting 11s that we saw near the end of last season. So I don't know if you guys did watch it because it was on the Arsenal website, and for me, I will be watching some of the other games coming up as well. I want to take a look at what things look like, especially with the likes of Lokonga and Tavares, however it is pronounced, their signings and how they're all going to fit into the whole Arsenal system. So I'm eager to see how that goes. So I'll be keeping you guys, giving my opinions on how all the upcoming preseason games are, and leading all the way up to the first game of the season against Brentford. But guys, definitely leave your thoughts below on that. Let me know what you guys think about the preseason game, and I will see you all next time.